Welcome back. I'm Allison Stewart in for Rachel Maddow, who will be back tomorrow. The big Obama transition talk tonight should be about Tom Daschle. The former Senate Majority Leader was offered the post of Secretary of Health and Human Services by Obama. NBC News confirms he's accepted the job, and he will oversee Medicare, Medicaid, the FDA, and possibly oversee reforms to a national health care system. That should be the talk. And in related news, you should eat more broccoli. But what everybody really wants to chat up is the daytime and nighttime drama featuring a tough but determined lady trying to figure out the ups and downs of her political life. The soap opera that has become the nomination for Secretary of State. Like sands through the hourglass, so are the days of our transition. What will become of Madam Secretary? Is she torn between power and health care reform? Will her husband Bill, cooperate with the vetting process? Who is leaking all this information all over Pine Valley? All we need is someone with amnesia to get involved. Wait, that happened to the Clintons in the 90s. Well, for the record, today Politico.com reports that negotiations are moving toward a formal offer and acceptance, according to officials involved. Quote, both sides want to get it done and believe she can be announced before Thanksgiving. Meanwhile, other reports at Politico and the New York Times quote a source saying that she is, quote, agonizing over the decision. A Clinton ally told the New York Times, quote, she hasn't decided whether she wants to leave the Senate. And amid all of this dramatic sequences, more analysis today. Washington Post columnist David Broder calls it a mistake, saying, quote, the last thing Obama needs is a Secretary of State carving out an independently based foreign policy. The New Republic's Martin Parrott says Barack is playing with fire. And New York Times columnist Tom Friedman says when it comes to appointing a Secretary of State, you do not want a team of rivals. So we are essentially at the cliffhanger part of a soap opera at the end of the hour where someone stares off knowingly to the side. But in cable TV, that's bad television. So joining us now is Connie Schultz, Pulitzer Prize-winning columnist for The Plain Dealer in Cleveland, Ohio. Connie, thanks for being with us.
Thanks, Allison. Actually, I'm in D.C. today.
I was about to say, that's a really nice capital they have there in Cleveland.
We're very versatile here in Cleveland.
I like Cleveland. You talked to Senator Clinton about her future before the election. Did she seem resigned to return to the Senate to continue her term?
Well, I would never use the word resigned with Hillary Clinton. I did feel at that point when I was listening to her talk that she certainly was interested in getting back to work in the Senate, but she certainly also was leaving open options. The Supreme Court didn't seem to be one of them. She's too much of an advocate for that. So I wasn't surprised that she wasn't landing there in terms of her ambitions. But I think it's interesting, don't you, that it's all these guys already weighing in again saying, no, not Hillary Clinton. I'm not sure that everyone's feeling that right now.
Well, is there any sort of reason that Senator Clinton would not want to be part of President-elect Obama's cabinet?
Nobody knows the relationship of between Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama except those two people, really. And I think it's been interesting to watch all the speculation and listen to it, but I don't think anyone knows it except for those two. And I don't think that the Barack Obama camp would have ever leaked any of this if they didn't feel pretty confident that she was going to be a team player. Of course, she's got some considerations. Her husband's career is certainly, I wouldn't say hanging in the balance, but I can't work up a lot of sympathy if what ends up happening for Bill Clinton is he'll have to stay closer to home, the home shores. Hillary Clinton's given up a lot over the years for her husband's career, and I think there are an awful lot of, especially women who supported her, who really welcome the chance for her to take center stage.
Well, what skill sets do you think she has that would make her a good Secretary of State, and what political habits does she have that might not suit her for this job?
Well, when I look at her role in the Senate and what she's been doing, and when I look at her run for the presidency, I do think her personality is better suited for executive roles, and this would give her that opportunity. I also think any speculation that she's not a team player is pretty much defeated by looking at what she did after she lost the primary. Just this week, the Democratic caucus gave her a standing ovation when I think it was Senator Harry Reid acknowledged all that she had done to help get Barack Obama elected. So I don't share the concern of some that she would not be a team player. I think the question for her is going to be, where does she, I'm not willing to make it all about ambition because we don't talk that way about male candidates ever. I mean, men have ambition and we accept that. I think it's normal that women would too. And I think for her, she just has to really take a look at the lay of the land and decide where she can make the biggest difference. My guess at this point would be that she's tilting towards Secretary of State.
Well, it's interesting. I spoke to two journalists today, one who was a woman, one who was a man, and they both sort of tossed off casually that said, oh, you know, the Senate, her getting to be a senator, it really was a stepping stone to something bigger. And they said it with such conviction, it surprised me a little bit. What's your take?
I think any time you look at a person who runs for elected office, for higher office, or in her case, her first elected office, I guess you can always speculate that that is a stepping stone, but I'm not quite sure what else she was going to do. I saw that as her breakout move. I mean, she had been a first lady for a long time, and it made sense, I thought, that if she was going to enter the political arena, she ought to aim high. Was that setting the stage for a presidential race? I think only Hillary Clinton and her closest advisors know that. I don't know that, but I wouldn't be surprised if certainly she was considering that. I just don't see the criticism in that. Again, I think we see that in men all the time, and I'm not willing to criticize her simply for being ambitious.
Now, a question I've been wondering about is why is Hillary Clinton's camp sending out messages that she's not 100% sold on the idea of accepting this offer, should it really be a really solid offer again? Politically, what's behind a move like that?
I'm wondering if this is more about a staff that isn't certain yet what the discussions have led to between her and her husband. You know, nobody knows a marriage like the two people in it. And in the strongest of marriages, it really is a dance, is it not? Sometimes, you know, the man leads and sometimes the woman leads. And I think a lot of her staff, they're a very loyal group, as you know, and they believe in her deeply, and I think that they're going to support whatever she wants to do. I think most of them, if you ask them privately, would tell you they really think it's her turn. And who knows what is going on right now behind the scenes in terms of just making sure that everyone's lined up and needs to be where he needs to be for her to do this.
Ready for another installment of this soap opera tomorrow. Connie Schultz, columnist for The Plain Dealer in Washington, D.C. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Allison.